Okay, so I'm thinking of calling this video why I do or why I'm attempting 75 hard as a busy entrepreneur. So let's get into it. But I quite like these because I recorded one before, kind of like webcam video before that. I just thought it was very authentic, and I was talking about the problems I was going through, and I was just speaking out loud, and I was watching back that video last night. I was actually really proud of it, and so I thought it's going to be really good to have a few of those in about 1 year, 2 year, 3 years time, being able to look back. And so I thought I'll do more of these and just talking about giving you an update, telling you where I'm at and stuff like that. So I wanted to talk about 75 Hard. So if you don't know 75 Hard, it's by Andy Frisella. You have all these goals that you want to achieve every day. So I think drink a gallon, so a US gallon, which is almost 4 liters. Strict diet, two 45-minute workouts a day, progress picture, read 10 pages of a self development book. And yeah, I think that's it. And I've also added in a cold shower a day and either 10 minutes of visualization or meditation. Right. And that's kind of because there's other variations. There's like more extreme variations of 75 hard. I'm not super into like 5 minutes of cold showers just because that is a waste of water. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy. I've done one this morning. It's kind of rough to do at the start, but you don't even get used to it. You just get better at warming up. And so, yeah, you probably to an outsider, you could say that doing 75 hard when you're trying to like start a business at the same time is arguably a waste of time. But I've been doing it. I think I'm on today's day 12 of 75 hard, and it's been just a really, really good experience. And I just kind of wanted to explain why. And so there's something called the 5 stages of opportunity hopping. This is popularized by Alex Hormozy, but it's also a variant of the Dunning Kruger effect. Essentially, right, is it almost like a sine wave, right? Similar. You're at when you go like that, it starts with uninformed optimism, then it goes to informed pessimism, then you're in the valley of despair, right? You're at the lowest of the low, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so hard to do, this is so hard to achieve. And then hopefully you stick it through, just keep on sticking it through. Then you reach informed optimism. You say, oh, okay, when you do this, this, and this, things start to work your way. And then you keep on doing that and you achieve success. And so that's what the 5 stages of entrepreneurship, or the 5 stages of opportunity hopping, that's what it looks like, because most people quit at the valley of despair, right? Or even before that, at informed pessimism. And so yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about that. And so I'm currently in the valley of despair with my business. um, I'm in a difficult to fulfill industry. So I'm doing cold email for mostly creative agencies, um, and so that's tough. That's a tough offer. It's tough to book meetings that actually take them, that actually turn into paying customers, right? And so yeah, I have a bunch of reasons why I should quit, right? Because not the best unit economics per month. I'm losing money despite having two clients, but because I'm paying performance. And so, yeah, it's kind of a rough time right now, right? And so, logically, I should quit, right? But if you don't know me, I've been trying to succeed at entrepreneurship for a long, long time, and I've never really been able to achieve success with it. And I thought it was always like, oh, I'm good at starting things, but I'm not good at finishing things. And well, part of being good at finishing things is pushing through the valley of despair. and so that's where I'm trying to get better at. And so I was just journaling last week, and so I thought I was just rereading it, and I thought, well, it'd be good to put it in video format, so I can look back at it. But yeah, I wrote this last week, so Saturday the 15th of November 2025. Um, I was in Waitrose today, and I was replaying a video with Alex Hormozi on stage talking about the 5 stages of entrepreneurship to real estate agents. And he talked about the whole process. So, where it starts, uninformed optimism, right? You've just heard about this thing, this business idea, you've heard, oh, people can make money doing it. So, okay, let's try it. And then you actually try it and you start to learn more, learn more, learn more. And then you achieve informed pessimism. Ooh, this is kind of harder than I thought it would be. Oh, I guess this is why everyone isn't a multi-millionaire, right? Then you really try and give it a go, and you reach the bottom, the valley of despair, where I'm at. Keep on pushing, informed optimism, and then success. I'm repeating myself. And so this valley of despair stage is where most people quit, and it's where I have quit many times in the past. And so if I quit now, I would go all the way back. And so kind of like Snakes and Ladders or Shoots and Ladders, if you know that game, where there's a board, there's like usually 100 pieces, and you can go up the ladder to get ahead. But if you land on a snake, you have to go all the way to where the end of the tail is. And sometimes, usually in the high 90s, so 96, 97, 98, 99, there'll be a snake there that goes all the way back to the first 5 steps, and that's what makes it quite hard. And so, if you pivot, then that kind of means, especially if you pivot without success, it kind of means you go all the way back, right? And so you go all the way back to uninformed optimism, which, if you've done this multiple times, you know that that's kind of, well, that's not real. Like, business is hard. It's hard. Like, if it wasn't hard, then a bunch of people would be very, very, very successful. So, right? And so I remember watching that exact video of Alex Hormozi talking to real estate agents, but I probably watched this about 9 months ago. I watched that video 9 months before, and this is when I was running a contractor SMMA. And so this was a paid ads agency to like blue collar guys, right? And so I was starting that up. I was paying money for courses. I was learning and learning and learning. But then I realized, oh, this is harder than I thought. This isn't just running ad campaigns. This is actually kind of difficult. You need to constantly be in the phone and contacting people or contacting your clients' leads, and that's really difficult. And I was just overthinking all of it, and I quit. And the specific reason I quit that agency is because part of the agency is when you get leads for contractors, contractors don't want to be calling like hundreds of leads a day, right? Like that, they want you to do that. So I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to make all these dials a day because I thought, and I was coming up with all the reasons why I shouldn't do that. I was saying, oh, my Myers Briggs, I'm a natural INTP. I'm more good at the technical stuff. Not, I'm not too good at talking to people. And I was just making, I was just trying to just justify. I was trying to. It was an emotional thing because I didn't want to have to power through the valley of despair. Right, I didn't want to have to go through trials and tribulation. I wanted to avoid all of that, and because of that, I justified it an emotional decision with logic, which is very easy to do. All right. The annoying thing about logic is that you can justify a lot of very emotional decisions with logic, right? Because logically, you can come up with everything. You can, the worst thing in the world, there's probably a logical reason why it's okay, right? You could talk about binge drinking. Say, oh, binge drinking is bad. You could say, well, logically, you're going to die anyway, so isn't it better just to live life on your own terms? And if that includes binge drinking in the morning, then c'est la vie, it's for life, and that's a life you choose, and you're a human, you're allowed to choose that. And like, yes, logically, yes, but it's probably not healthy to be binge drinking, right? And so you can justify anything with logic, and that's a problem, right? That's a problem. And so I quit the contractor SMMA because I didn't want to call these leads to get them to book appointments, which is annoying because as part of my cold email agency, I do that anyway. So I quit an agency because I for the sole reason I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to like call up 30, 40, 50 people in a day. But like I call up people anyway. And I do cold calls, right? And I do warm calls. So I do that anyway. So I quit something, went all the way back to learning something new, which was cold email. And I did that for something that I ended up doing anyway. And so, annoying. But yeah, when I quit, I spent weeks trying to decide my next pivot. And I spent about a month, actually no longer. I think I spent about 6, 7, 8 weeks having to learn a brand new service, which was brand new service for film, which was a cold email agency, and for no major reason other than I didn't want to be uncomfortable, and I didn't want to have to push through that valley of despair. It was literally only an escape from the valley of despair, and I was working with a therapist at the time, and I was working with a therapist called Michael. And so I told him, okay, I think I should pivot because of this reason, this reason, this reason, right? Just justifying with logic. And he said, okay, let's do this together. I'll allow you to pivot your business, right? Because you raised some good points, but only if the next thing you pivot to, you're not going to quit that and then do something else. Because otherwise, you're just wasting your time. And he said, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pivot to something that you think you can do, that you think you can be successful at. You're going to pivot to it. And after that, no more pivots. You make this work. I was like, okay, I'll do that. And then fast forward about 6 or 7 months to last week, right? Last Saturday, I'm considering pivoting. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm just going in loopy loops of the same problem of just, I cannot just, for some reason, there's a part of me that's just not willing to push through that valley of despair. And that's what's really holding me back. And so I wrote here, damn, my own worst competitor is myself. The reason I have constantly failed in entrepreneurship was because of that refusal to put in the final 5%. I've always said, oh yeah, I'm really good at finishing things, but I'm not things. I'm not good. I'm really good at starting things, sorry, but I'm not great at finishing things. And so, well, that's not due to skill. That's due to like a lack of mental toughness, a lack of being willing to push through pain that I haven't been willing to do. And again, like I've always been good at starting things. I've always been willing to give things a go, but I haven't been willing to stick through it and stick through it. And like I like because time takes time. It takes time to objectively be good at something, and I've never been willing to do that, or at least never been willing to do that for a long time. It's like, well, isn't that revealing? And so the actual reason is I'm not willing to emotionally withstand the valley of despair. And then so I overthink and then I switch to a different direction based on logic, which, as you and I have spoken about, you can use logic to justify a bad over emotional decision, which I did and I have been doing. And so I wrote, honestly, it only makes sense to switch to a better opportunity, because the only opportunity that's really better is the one you stick to. But it only makes sense to switch to a better opportunity only once I have hit success in a tough business like this one, right? Because not of the actual what you get, right? Not because of the financial side, but because of a person you evolve into. Because you do evolve into the person that can be tough through things, right? If that makes sense. You evolve into the type of person that can like withstand this pain, and you have evidence you can do that. And so I also wrote the next opportunity will be easier once I've already been able to prove that I'm a winner, because winners win and losers lose. And let me talk about that. So I remember being told by my dad, he was like, I remember, we'll just talk about life. He said, you know what? I've noticed that, especially with a lot of the tougher professions, the people that previously succeeded in another tough profession, when they move to something else, they're still successful. And there's multiple reasons for this. One, they're fairly, resilient individuals. But also, it's just people like working with winners. You're seen as a safer bet, right? And so, if you want people to take bets on you, you kind of want to be a safe bet. And if you were previously successful in one thing, logically to them, you'll probably be successful in another, right? If you were successful in like a medical career and then you switch to being like a lawyer, you'll probably be a pretty good lawyer, right? And like, because if you're the type of person that can tough through like the medical industry, you could probably tough through the legal industry, right? And yeah, winners win, losers lose. The type of person that can win is tough, resilient. So you're gonna be that type of person. And so I put, I get so much if I just make this a win, because I get more status delta, right? More certainty, evidence that not giving up works, which will make me much more confident. And skill wise, you just get better when you stick with things longer. And so I can look at this time and think, oh, you know what, I'd rather switch to another, um, you know, another thing entirely. But I've already put 6 months into this. I was like, well, let's say I just give it another 6 months. That's a year. I'll probably be, not terrible at it, right? And so, yeah, there's this. I was watching this video by this finance and economics guy, and I was talking about the people who really do make it in entrepreneurship, and it talks about something called the 4x rule. So 4x, not forex as in foreign exchange, 4x rule of entrepreneurship, and that is success will take 4 times longer than you hoped and will cost you 4 times than you wished. And so I thought it wouldn't cost me that much money to be in the cold email space, and I thought, well, and I thought it'd only take me like 4 months to be successful, and boy, was I wrong. And so that financial number is looking way higher of what I have to invest, and 4 times 4 is 16. So it's like, okay, whoa, it might take me 16 months to be like decently good at being a cold email provider. But I've already spent a bit of money in becoming in trying to start a cold email agency, and I've already spent about 6 months, almost 7 months. So let's say it's 6 months. That means that I'd probably only be about you know about 9 to 10 months away from being successful at this, and that would be around August 2026. And so it's like, am I willing to make that trade? Am I willing to suffer for 10 more months in order to make a objectively be successful in business, running my own business, which I've always wanted to do. I've always failed at, but I've always wanted to do. Okay, is it worth 10 more months of pain? Well, yeah, it is worth that. Is it worth 10 more months to be a top 1% agency owner? Because if you don't know, out of 100 people that want to start an agency, 90 of those 10 will never sign up a client. Only 10 will, and of those 10, only one of those 10 will hit 10K a month is a golden number, right, in revenue. and it's got pretty good margins, right? Like usually 80 to 75% margins, and so yeah, only 1% of agencies will hit that. So if you can hit that, you're in the top 1%, and that's already the type of person who starts, a business is fairly impressive. So you are in that's a impressive cohort to be a part of. Um, I'm also 10 more months away from having a great story, right? Being able to prove that I can withstand um, hard times, right? And actually be someone that can achieve hard things. And so if you're wondering, okay, what does 75 hard have to do with any of this? So, well, I kind of realized, okay, this problem is not going to be solved in a matter of weeks. So this idea that I can just grind, or which I have been doing, which was ending just burning me out. That idea I can do that isn't accurate because I'm not going to get any real improvements by putting that extra 1 hour in. Because I'll just put an extra 1 hour in every day, every day, every day, but that's just going to burn me out because I'm not going to see results from that. And so the reality is, you know, I'm going to be doing something and I'm not even going to be able to see a result. A minimum of 30 days, possibly longer. Possibly it might be months before I really start seeing things turning my way. And that's a month away just from an action. And so I can't do that just by trying to just grind out these hours. I can really only do that by being consistent. And there's two things that I've just noticed. 75 hard. You know, I haven't completed it yet. I'm day 12 now, but what I've just noticed is that it's allowed me to become more consistent in my work. I can do a I can be I just don't really burn out when I've been doing it. So I've been able to work over a longer time span, and it's been more sustainable that way. And it's also been I can do a higher quality of work because I've become a lot more emotionally resilient or mentally resilient. And that was my problem. My bottleneck wasn't this, that, or the other. My bottleneck was never my opportunity. My bottleneck was my mind. That I was getting in my own way. That I was too sensitive to things. I wasn't emotionally resilient enough to the challenges that life gives you. And so I purely just started this because it was recommended to me by my mindset coach, Johannes. He said he put up a 7 day mental challenge. If you can do this, this is a mental toughness challenge. Just do it. And I did it, and I felt great. And I thought, well, if I can do it for 7 days, then I could do it for 75 days. And so, yeah, I'm now on a self development kick because I realized, look, I'm not going to fix this problem in a few days, in a few weeks. It's going to take a few months. It's going to take a lot of months to figure this out. And so I need to be able to emotionally handle those months and actually be consistent and be able to consistently work those months. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at. That's why I'm doing 75 hard, and I want to do it for a long time. And getting through all of these, self development things like meditation and stuff like that. Fun thing about the meditation, I'm not massively into that like visualization kind of stuff. I kind of struggle with it. But I saw from someone who watched this YouTube video of someone who was it was apparently a competitive programmer, and he talked about scientific research um, that indicated that people who practiced mindfulness training for um, for 4 days, they had a better developed certain aspect of the prefrontal cortex, which allows to help and aid in complex problem solving. And it's like, well, I'm solving complex problems right now because this is really hard. What I'm trying to fix is really hard. And so I was like, okay, well, it'd be better if I had a better developed prefrontal cortex, right? And I've actually noticed that I'm less prone to being as emotional as I was, allowing my emotions to just like derail me. I'm spiraling less, and also I'm having my best ideas are actually coming, especially when I'm like running long distance. So no headphones, no phone, just running for 45 minutes, right? Part of the workouts, and try and do that a couple times a week. I'm also aware that because you're working out so much, you want to add a bit more variation because you don't want to you don't want to injure yourself, right? So you want to add a bit more variation to the exercises. But I'm finding um, one, yeah, better moods, and I'm also just better problem solving and able to think up really interesting solutions to my problems. Because like, okay, I'm dealing with this. What? How do I solve this? How do I solve it? And I'll think about it, and I'll come up with what I think is a very promising solution on a run, which happened a couple of days ago, and I'm implementing that now. So I've rambled on long enough. That's why I'm incorporating 75 hard into my life as a very busy entrepreneur. And yeah, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. See ya. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye.